Where'd it go?
Hey! Technology.
What?
What a great thing.
Welcome
Sometimes.
to Harmonic World.
Yeah. Yeah, welcome. I'm Courtney.
I'm Mallory.
So, we are back for Books on the Rocks, which is really turning into Books on the Vine because we've just been drinking wine and doing the book thing lately.
We have so much wine.
We do have a lot of wine. Now we got a whole wine thing, so we're moving through that box of 12 bottles of wine.
Yeah, while we're doing videos, so.
Yeah. So today we are going to be trying this initial 2019 California Cabernet Sauvignon. It has a bee and a crown and a laurel wreath on the front. And that is related to our book today because of the crown, and it's from California.
Yep. It's totally legit.
Is it? We don't know. But, well, look, hey, we're going with it. So, we did not chill this. Also, we know you're not supposed to chill red wine, but we don't care.
Yeah, a lot of times we still do.
Yeah. So, who knows how this is going to be, but hopefully it'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Don't spill any.
Don't get it on the couch.
Don't get it on the couch. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh. I really like that.
Yeah.
That's
good.
It's not sweet, but it seems sweet.
Yeah. Has a weird element of sweetness.
Yeah.
Even though it's, like you said, it's not really sweet at all. It's not like a red Moscato or a...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like
but it's not as dry as... Even like a Merlot, it's not even as...
Yeah.
Which isn't very dry.
It smells very tanniny, I think. I don't really know what tannins smell like, but...
Maybe like
if
this.
you swirl it, it has very long fingers. I don't know what that tells us either. I've just seen people talk about it on Hallmark movies where they're all about wine.
So it must be true.
It must be true. They do their research sometimes. Anyway.
Yes, very good. And we'll pair well with today's topic.
Yes.
So if you saw our last Books on the Rocks, we mentioned that we were going to be doing this one next. So here we are. So if you saw that and you were like, I have to read that book before the next episode comes out.
Yeah.
And now you're here. Welcome.
Welcome.
If you just randomly happened on this video by accident and you've never heard of us in your life, also welcome.
Yes.
But today we're going to be talking about Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade.
Yes. So if you're new to our Books on the Rocks, what we do is we kind of give an overview of how we felt about the book, generally what it's about, and then at some point we will say, turn off now, spoiler alert, turn it off now if you don't want spoilers. And then you can turn it off now or you can keep watching because, hopefully all you loyal viewers out there have read the book and you're ready to hear us dive deep into it and talk, all of that. So, okay, so the gist of Spoiler Alert, the main character, whose name is April, is a big fan of the show Gods of the Gates.
It's like it's basically Game of Thrones, but it's about, I don't know if they're like Greek, I guess they're Greek. Were they Greek gods or? Yeah. It's kind of, but it's basically a Game of Thrones.
Yeah. It's a Game of Thrones.
With different characters.
Yeah.
I mean, the main male character has a hyphenated last name. Like one of the main male characters from Game of Thrones.
Yes. Yeah. And he's also physically described as looking almost exactly the same as one of the leads of Game of Thrones because his name is Marcus Castor Rupp. Sort of like Nikolai Coster-Waldau. So, you know, it's easy to see, it's easy to make comparisons. Obviously, the whole time that I was reading the book, I was picturing Jaime Lannister.
Yeah, like, you can't help it but picture that, because it's what it makes you think of. But.
So, so he's the star of the show, one of the stars of the show. She's a super big fan of the show. And then she is a big fan fiction writer about his character and another character. And so she lives in this world of fan fiction, and she's met a guy on the fan fiction forum that she really likes. But then through a series of events, she ends up meeting real life people from the show, and she gets all involved in the world, and, it's a romance. So I think that's probably about as general as we can be without getting spoilery. Yeah. So we definitely think you should probably read this book. I mean, especially if you like anything we just talked about.
Yeah, if you like chick lit, you like fandoms and fan fiction and all that. If you like fangirl, I think you would like this one.
Yeah.
It's sort of it's a more adult version of fangirl.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. So I did really like the book. I'm pumped up about reading the next one. That's kind of, there's like it's not really a sequel, it's sort of a spin-off. It's a world book, as other authors call them anyway. About two of the characters that are in this book, but only play sort of really minor parts. One of them is more of a supporting character. One of them is just a guest star.
Yeah, just mentioned a few times.
Yeah. But I really liked this book. I thought that the characters were really charming and that it was funny. And it is about body positivity, which of course I appreciate, because I like it when the little chubby girl gets the guy. I mean, it's a chick lit book. You know, the chubby girl gets the guy. That's not really a spoiler alert. So, okay, that was my thought. So,
yeah, I like this one too. I like the fandom aspect a lot. It's I've read some books like that before, like Fangirl and some others that are about fan fiction, which I really like. I used to write fan fiction all the time, and now I just write them in my head instead of writing them down. But
you need to share them with the universe.
I know I should. I have lots of great fan fictions right here that from all different types of fandoms.
See, there you go. Write it down.
Yeah. But I really like that part about people. I mean, these are grown people, and I like that, you're saying we're still into this stuff when we're nearly 40.
Yeah.
Because I'm not nearly 40 yet, but
closer than me.
I'm getting closer every day. But I still really enjoy all this stuff, so it's cool to read about other characters who really like this. And then, of course, I like the romance. I mean, it's what's going to happen at the beginning. It's a chick lit book. It's like watching a Hallmark movie.
Right, yeah.
And there's going to be some sort of conflict. But yeah, I like the romance, and it was funny.
Yeah. So definitely check it out. And then the next books on the rocks that we're going to do, we'll go ahead and tell you now, in case you're cutting the episode off now, will be the finale of the Body Movers series.
Yeah, we did a whole video on the rest of the series. That was actually our first books on the rocks, I think we ever did. But now it's time to talk about the finale.
Yes.
Which we actually read a while ago, but
yeah,
now we're going to film and talk about what we thought about it.
Yeah. So if you're cutting it off now, because you don't want spoilers about this book, books on the rocks next time will be Body Movers, the final book, which was called
12 Bodies and a Wedding.
There you go. So there, check that out by Stephanie Bond. Also check out everything by Stephanie Bond. She's awesome, and we really like her books.
Yeah, I've read a lot of her books at this point.
Yeah. Okay, so now we are going to delve into this book. Spoiler alert from here on out for spoiler alert. So I guess we should start by delving more into the plot. So So, of course, the whole deal was that April was kind of, she was a plus-size girl, and she was writing fan fiction as unapologetic Lavinia Stan, because that was her ship that she shipped. And then she really had connected in the Lavinius forum with Buccaneus Would Never. Mm-hmm. And so she's, of course, she's kind of connected with this guy, and she really likes him, and she thinks that he's a really good writer. She likes his stuff most of the time. And, then she is trying to arrange a meetup at the Gods of the Gates con that they're having.
Yeah.
And so then I guess she goes to the con, and she's hoping that she can meet Buccaneus Would Never. And then it's been a while since we've read this book too, so please bear with us. But
he doesn't want to meet in person, and I think she had sent him a photo of herself. I know at one point she decided to share. She had a cosplay. Mm-hmm. And decided she was going to share a photo of it on Twitter. But I don't know if that's where he saw it or if she'd sent it to him directly. I can't remember. But he didn't show or didn't want to meet, and she thought that was why, because he'd actually seen her.
Yeah.
And didn't want to meet, which was not true.
And then I know she had shared it on Twitter at one point, because then people were kind of fat shaming her on there for cosplaying as, I think she was cosplaying as Lavinia, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Which, she ships with Aeneas's character. But, of course, on the show, Lavinia's probably really fit and that sort of thing. And so some people were saying, oh, you go, girl, this is awesome, which, of course, like we believe cosplay is for everybody. Yeah. You should dress what you want to be. But of course, other people were cruel to her online, and then that's when the guy that plays Aeneas on Gods of the Gates stepped up and was like, I want you to come with me to this event, or whatever.
Yeah. Because he's like, everybody thinks that Marcus is like very shallow and dumb, because in every interview he ever does, that's how he acts.
Right.
But you read the book from both perspectives.
Yeah.
And so in Marcus's perspective, you realize he's putting on an act. Like, that's not really how he is at all.
Yeah.
But that's how he always portrays himself on camera. Mm-hmm. So he decides, I guess, to ask her, because he kind of feels bad for her, because they're, of everybody trash talking her, and he wants to be like, no, I want to take you out. Kind of as a publicity stunt at first.
Yeah. But also, he actually thinks that she is really pretty, and he really does want to take her out, for more than that. But also, again, in keeping with his public persona, he's making it out like it needs to be a publicity stunt, because really and truly, the reason that he acts like that is because it turns out that he has dyslexia. And so his parents, who are both like college professors, had kind of been not cruel to him, but just not that supportive of him. And they struggled to accept that he had a disability, that, it just didn't make sense as much to them.
Yeah, and they definitely didn't like him being an actor.
Yeah.
And being on this show that they thought was like, not accurate.
Right.
Not historically accurate, or based on, the actual Greek mythology, and so they thought the whole thing was terrible.
Yeah. So he has kind of adopted this dumb guy persona as really a shield against the rest of the world seeing the real guy, because he has this semi-toxic relationship with his parents.
Yeah.
Which eventually, over the course of the book, we come to realize that as Marcus and as April continue to kind of figure each other out, they also kind of figure themselves out and are able to support each other, because she doesn't have the best relationship with some members of her family either. And they both kind of come to realize, which is a tough realization, that, sometimes you don't even need your parents in your life if they can't be supportive of you and understand you.
It's like it's kind of like removing toxic people from your life in general. I guess one of the main themes is like people who are trying to be helpful, kind of, but in a way they're kind of being like, lose weight, but without actually saying it.
Yeah.
And her mom, I think, is worse than most people.
Yeah.
About it.
And I think, like you said, exactly. Her mom thinks she's being helpful, but then also her stepdad's just like a jerk about the whole thing. And, when she tries to set boundaries with her mom, her stepdad acts like she's being aggressive and, sort of that kind of thing, instead of just recognizing that she's trying to communicate because she's fine with how she is.
Yeah.
There's no reason she should change. She has a good life. She's made a good career for herself, but they don't see it that way.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's sort of really, it's not a situation we live in, but at the same time, we all live in this culture that, constantly, when you meet women, a lot of times they will say how pretty they are.
Yeah.
Instead of saying
on your looks.
Yeah.
First and foremost.
Instead of saying, I've heard you're really smart. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, you looked really pretty. And doesn't matter that you have a master's degree. It matters more that you look cute.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. And everybody likes to be told that they look pretty. I mean, it's just that
compliments.
When you see little boys and stuff, you don't normally say, oh, you're so handsome. You say, oh, you're so strong or so fast.
Yeah.
But little girls are just pretty. Yeah. So
you're kind of, from a young age as a girl, you're kind of told that looking pretty makes you more valuable, I guess.
Yeah.
And the whole point, I guess, is like, at the end of the day, that's not really what matters most.
Yeah.
But it's hard to shake because that's what you've always thought.
Right.
That if I don't look good, it's like going out in public. You feel like you need to look a certain way to go out in public.
Yeah.
Except for when you go to Walmart.
Yeah. True.
That's acceptable to look like whatever you want.
Yeah. So also when she starts, they kind of start dating. She and Marcus, April and Marcus, kind of start dating, but she's still kind of not really flirting, but she has this really close relationship with Buccaneers would never, who she calls Bon part of the time because it's just abbreviated. Shorter. So she sort of kind of feels like also that she was headed in, I guess, sort of a relationship direction with Bon.
Yeah.
So now she's kind of like in this struggle between Bon and Marcus.
Because really, she didn't even, out of all the actors, even though she liked his character, she really, I think, found the guy that plays Cupid. I think his name was Alex, right?
Yeah.
More, like, she always found him more attractive, I guess.
Yeah, because she thought that Marcus was an idiot, basically. Yeah. I mean, like, that he was just, kind of like a dude bro, basically, because that's the persona that he crafted. And, she didn't know that was all an act, too. As much of an act, if not more of an act, than playing Aeneas on the show.
Yeah, and he, went, because when they first went on the date, she was kind of like, okay, I'll come.
Right.
But on the first date, it didn't really go well. But he liked her right away, but she was kind of like, I don't think so. Because he was kind of putting on for part of it, his whole thing he does.
Yeah.
And she was not impressed.
No. So, I mean, she basically told him at the end of the date, no more. We're not going to be, this is not going to be a thing. But then, he kind of realized what was the deal. And realized that he needed to drop that dude bro persona.
Mm-hmm. But he also realizes, all right, so turns out that Marcus is actually the other fan fiction writer.
Yes.
Marcus is Bon.
Yeah.
And he figures out pretty early on who she is.
Yeah.
Because she mentions fan fiction or something. And he puts it together, but he doesn't tell her that he knows that.
Right.
But he wants to keep seeing her because he already kind of liked her from fan fiction too.
Yeah. So then you kind of know from the jump, though, that this is going to be a problem because he knows way, way more about her than she knows that she knows about him. Because not only does he know her as April, he knows her as unapologetic Lavinia stan, but he doesn't tell her that. And so, you know, of course, that's the sort of the main point of contention among also her trying to get him to rectify his public persona with who he really is. And, you know, not necessarily changing, but like letting her into every part of his world instead of putting the different walls up to protect himself too.
Because I think he doesn't want anybody, he's afraid like he'll lose his job or get sued mainly because I think they wrapped filming the show. And he doesn't like the way it ended.
Right.
And so he's thinking, but that he still has the possibility of like being sued and stuff by the, you know, the studio if they find out that he's been writing all this fan fiction.
Yeah, because basically he reads all the books. He's a fan of the books. Well, he listens to the audio books, I think. And so now he's playing this character that he really likes from the books. And on the show, they're just like totally going out in left field with that character and just doing him dirty, basically. I mean,
and he doesn't get a good ending.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Jaime Lannister. So, you know, he's writing he found fan fiction as an outlet to right the wrongs that he feels the show did his character. Which is, I think, probably a lot of what fan fiction is.
Yeah.
I've written one fan fiction. I started writing another one. It was to right a wrong. The other one I wrote was just, I mean, it was pretty good if you ask me, but it wasn't anything important.
There's various kinds, but a lot of it is you rewriting something that you didn't like into something that you do like.
Right.
Some of it's a little different, but.
So then over the course of the book, of course, all that stuff happens, and then, you know, they end up going to the con. And, you know, of course, people at various stages of the book are cruel to April because they think the whole thing is a sham. And, you know, then Cupid, the guy that plays Cupid, Alex, he figures out all this fan fiction stuff. So then he's going to get involved, but he's way more brash than Marcus is.
Yeah, he's a little bit reckless and makes terrible decisions.
Yeah. And so,
because he decides he's going to write, because he knows he's like Marcus's best friend, so he's the only one who knows everything.
Yeah.
But then, he decides he's going to write his own fan fiction.
Yeah.
But then he goes off and tells people in this interview at the con that he has done that.
Yeah.
And he basically says, F the show, all the writers, this was terrible, whatever.
Yeah.
And Marcus is like...
Dude, you're blowing our cover.
And Alex also has had this woman, what's her name? I wrote it down, Lauren, assigned to him, basically, to keep up with him and his nonsense.
Yeah.
And so she's, bless her heart, has been chasing him around this whole book.
Right.
And actually, the sequel novel is about Alex, I think.
Yeah.
Him and Lauren, I think, are the subjects of the sequel. But
because she shows up to something in this book as well, and people criticize her because she's also, you know, more plus size. And Alex is like, the F's wrong with you people, you know, and like he immediately jumps to her defense a little too strongly to the point to where, you know, all hell breaks loose for a little bit. And so then the show's trying to do damage control on all fronts. And, you know, so that's, of course, by the end of the book, April and Marcus have resolved all their differences and are, you know, making a go of it. And so it all turns out good, and they, you know.
They have their drama, but they get back together.
Yeah.
They have some really good quotes. I didn't write any down, but I have some. I actually put some on. I made a quote of the day calendar.
Yeah.
And I put some of the quotes from this book. But one of them, I think it was from this book, was recent on the calendar. And it was like, if you can't love me the way that I am, if you say you love me, but you can't love me the way I am, maybe you need to redefine love. Like, what you think love is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was lots of good quotes, I think, and good messages in there.
Yeah.
And I liked April because she really was kind of like, I like myself, and I'm not going to change for anybody. Right. And if you can't handle that, then go away.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to change for you.
Right.
Which was nice.
Yeah. And also it was cool because Marcus really worked hard to understand her and how to best communicate with her, which is how most people should do in any sort of relationship that you're in. Because he would say things like, you know, he learned early on, you know, like when he would say sort of triggering things to her necessarily, that he didn't mean it that way. He was just, you know, kind of asking a question, but he, you know, that was my only qualm with her character, was that sometimes she took offense to things that nobody...
Yeah, you knew he didn't mean it like that.
Yeah, but she was so used to her mama kind of meaning it like that, I guess, that, you know, because he would say, like, oh, should we go get, like, frozen yogurt or something, for instance, or whatever, and she would be like, why? Because it's fat-free, or, you know, like...
Yeah, because Marcus did have to be on a diet for work.
Yeah.
So he was like having to eat this stuff and work out all the time. So he was like, oh, you want to work out with me or something, I think. And she was like, why do I need to work out? And he was like, well, you don't. I was just asking. And she finally, I guess, by the end realizes that he didn't mean it like that. And I guess he also learns like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And after they kind of meet each other's families and stuff, everything kind of makes a lot more sense, I think, for both of them, because, you know, she has to learn to communicate with him too, and learn to not take offense when he's just proposing an activity, which is what he was doing.
Yeah.
So anyway, the whole book, again, I mean, I really, of course, I like body positivity books like this, and Dumpling, and If the Shoe Fits, and those kinds of books. So, but this one was with the added element of the fandom stuff and all that. It was really good.
That made it really good.
Yeah.
I think that's what drew me into it in the first place. Was I'm like, oh, that's something I can relate to a lot. Or, you know, but being in that fandom world all the time as an adult.
Yeah, well, and because too, you know, we sit here and we watch these movies with these really good looking guys, and like, who doesn't dream of like going to a convention and Jason Momoa being like, do you want to run off with me?
Right, of somebody looking at you and saying, you don't look like these people on TV.
Yeah.
But we still think that you're beautiful. And this, you know, like, we don't care about.
Yeah.
Like, we're not looking for somebody who's a size 2. For so long, it's like when you watch movies or TV, that all of the females, the males look like wide range, okay? The females were always made to look, so even like movies like, oh my gosh, what's it called?
The Duff.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
She's all that. And
like,
the Duff.
In the beginning, they were like, she's so ugly. I'm like, she literally just has glasses on.
Yeah, she is wearing glasses.
She is a pretty girl with glasses on, okay?
Yeah.
Also rude, first of all. Yeah. that you look ugly because you have glasses on.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but seeing people who remind me more of me.
Yeah.
And they're doing that more now than they used to. But still, I mean, a lot of times women always have to be perfect, even though the men aren't.
Right.
Like, perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect, I guess.
Well, and even, I mean, like She's All That, for instance, which I love that movie. Okay, don't get me wrong. I love that movie. But it's still one of those movies to where, like, you know, she's worthy of Freddie Prinze Jr.'s attention later, because it turns out if you take her glasses off, she's actually really pretty.
After a makeover.
Yeah.
So now suddenly.
Even though, of course, you know, the whole general deal is obviously Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character is like falls in love with who she is over time. But it's one of those deals to where, you know, and I think that was kind of part of a turning point, sort of, for the industry, even though by the same token, these people are still really pretty. But like, you know, then even in, if you read books now, and then you see them on TV, like the Aurora Tea Garden, this is a good example. I love the books, I love the movies, and I love Candace Cameron Bure, but in the books, Aurora Tea Garden is described as having this wild mane of hair that is uncontrollable. She's and like dark,
short, right?
She's short. She wears glasses all the time. I mean, and she's just generally described as being like fairly average looking,
like homely.
Yeah,
kinda.
And then they get Candace Cameron Bure, who's one of like the prettiest women out there, to play her on TV, and I'm like, this ain't even close.
Yeah. Maybe one day we should do a video on book to movie or TV characters that look nothing like they're supposed to.
Yeah, maybe we should.
I bet there's more than you think about.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's one for sure.
So it's nice. I like having more of that.
Yeah.
You know, more of your normal average woman, not your typical.
Yeah.
You know.
Getting the Prince Charming.
Yeah, getting... I'm like, where's my good-looking guy?
For real.
Actor. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I guess, but like still.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's also not just skin deep. And if the most important thing to you is the number on the scale, you got bigger problems in your life than you know about. So
you need to, even if you're working to be healthier or like...
Yeah, nobody knows your life.
You know, you want to be in good health. You don't want to have like, you know, bad cholesterol or heart problems or anything. But that doesn't mean you could be in good health and not weigh 120 pounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you could be in just as good a health.
Yeah. It's important to be healthy and to be happy.
Yeah. Like don't worry about how much you weigh.
Yeah.
You know.
Happiest girls are the prettiest.
Yep.
I have that quote on something at home. It's from Audrey Hepburn, I think.
Yep.
But anyway, so definitely check out Spoiler Alert. We hope that you like this episode of Books on the Rocks or on the Vine or whatever we're going to call it now, because if we keep drinking wine, Books on the Rocks may not work. But anyway, check this book out. We're next, as a reminder, will be Body Movers. And then, of course, we'll let you know on that one what the next book will be.
Yep,
which may be a mystery to us too.
Yeah, we've got a few on the back burner that one or both of us are working on finishing reading. Like either I've read it and you haven't finished it, or you've read it and I haven't read it yet.
Yeah,
that we think we'll do on here, but we gotta finish them first.
Yeah. So check out our channel. We do more of these book review things. We do other fandom related things, if fandoms are your thing. Thing. I just said thing so many times. It's a varied channel. We also have another channel called Our McTravels. You can check that out as well.
If you like travel content and vlogs.
Yes.
We have some coming to you. There's some out as we're filming. There'll probably be more out by the time this video comes out.
Yeah. We are posting about a road trip that we took last summer through the Great American West.
And hopefully we'll be traveling more this year.
Yes.
Fingers crossed we get to go.
Yes.
So far so good, but...
Yeah. So, thanks for tuning in to Books on the Rocks, and we'll see you in the next episode, whatever it may be.
Yep. Bye.
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 Bye.